to a special episode of Hear Me Roar. My name is Bryce Shades and I'll be your guest host, taking over for Angela Hardesty. On today's show, we'll be talking about objects that us young men, who are now grown men, have gotten from our fathers, grandfathers, or other significant people in our lives. We'll have some people talking about receiving their first Bible, their first baseball mitt, or also killing their first deer. So I hope you stay tuned for today's special episode, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
If you enjoy watching and analyzing movies, the Film Studies minor would be great for you. The Film Studies minor recognizes the importance of film literacy in the digital age and offers students the critical skills they will need to productively engage in the mass-mediated world of the 21st century. In class, you may observe movies such as Seven, Blade Runner, Taxi Driver, and Dirty Harry. For further information, contact the Director of Film Studies, Jeffrey Hill, at j.hill@moreheadstate.edu.
What's wrong, dude? Second guessing that cheeseburger? Maybe you should take another look at that before you eat it.
Don't eat me.
Now how could you be thinking of eating that when really you're thinking of a slow-cooked chili-covered geodog with cheese with your selected choice of chips? Throw that thing away. Located on the first floor behind the elevator.
What about me? Hear Me Roar is a show about the real-life experiences and personal stories of women in today's world. Hear Me Roar is also a program that promotes women artists, writers, dancers, scholars, and musicians.
The item I brought in was a pair of drumsticks, and I come from a very musical family. My mom and dad both play instruments. My brother plays several string instruments and wind instruments, so it was only natural I was going to pick up some kind of instrument. And I think I was in the third grade. I was watching MTV Music Video Awards, and Kiss was performing at the very end, and I absolutely fell in love with rock and roll music. I fell in love with the drums. Peter Criss playing the drums that night. And so for that Christmas, I got a nice full-size set of drums, big black drums just like Peter Criss had, and I've been playing ever since. And I'm really, really thankful that my parents introduced me to music and were willing to put up with me learning to play the drums. And it's such a loud instrument as they are. And I'm just really, really thankful. Really, really thankful for that.
Growing up as a young man, my dad always meant a lot to me. You know, he was in the military, so I kind of did have a strict background, but I definitely say what made me into the person that I am today. So there's no really one set object that I would say that he gave me. It's just what he gave me was self-integrity and self-pride. He talked about when he grew up in rural Virginia back in the 50s and 60s, the time of segregation and how things were hard for him, but how he overcame. He went into the military at the age of 18 and retired, and you know, now he's been able to provide for me even when he was in the military and after retirement. So he instilled in me that in order to be successful, I'm going to have to work twice as hard, and that I should always be proud of who I am and what I do. So that's something that's resonated in my life, you know, since I was a young boy, even up to the age I am now. So I just thank my dad for him instilling that in me. And so that's my object that he's kind of gave me. It's more of an internal thing which kind of sits in here. So I definitely appreciate that.
When I was younger, I would go visit my uncle, Dusty, and he would always play guitar. And I was really fascinated with the instrument and how he played it. And I went up to him one day when I got older. I was in high school, and I was like, Dusty, can you teach me how to play guitar? And he was like, yeah. So he let me borrow this classical guitar. The neck on it was like, you know, this thick on it. It's huge. And he told me, you know, if you can learn how to play on this guitar, then you can play on any guitar. And every day after school, I would come home and I would practice. And I kept getting, you know, better and better at chord progressions and stuff like that. And eventually I got to where I could play decently. And after that, he gave me the classical guitar, and then he helped me to actually buy my first really nice guitar. And he told me to pass on the classical guitar to another family member that sparked an interest in playing guitar. And that's something that's really special to me, and I plan on passing that down to different people in my family that want to learn how to play.
The item I brought in was my baseball glove, because some of the fondest memories of my childhood were spent at the park, particularly at the baseball field. My dad and grandfather both served as my coaches in Little League and Minor League. My first glove was actually given to me by my grandpa. It's a left-handed glove from when he coached middle school. It was one of his players, and it was probably 30 years old when I got it. And then when I got to high school, that glove was so beat up. I wanted to keep it, but it was just in such bad shape that I had to get a new glove. And my dad surprised me and got me a new glove. And I played with that glove for 4 years, all throughout high school. And I just think it's so cool that my grandfather passed the love of baseball down to my dad, who passed it down to me. And maybe someday if I ever have a son or a daughter, I can pass my love of baseball down to them.
When I was little, I couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old. I remember my grandpa giving me a screwdriver, which was really important to me because he was the only handyman type of person that I had in my life to influence me, because my dad was not a handyman at all, and he was the father of my mother, and he only had 2 daughters, so he never really got to pass on that knowledge, but he did with me and my brother. When he gave me that screwdriver, he told me that men are the people that fix things. Like, if something breaks, we fix it. So, I mean, when I was growing up, I got to use it a few times and fix a few little things, but nothing really serious. I never really got to appreciate it, but here this last summer, I was able to go home and visit my parents, and when I did, they had doors that wouldn't shut or sit right because the hinges and the doorknobs were loose and came out of place, so I was able to unscrew them and reset them and get the doors shutting perfect like they used to. It made me feel really special and made me feel like if my grandpa could see that, he'd be really proud.
As I was younger, back in, I say, elementary, middle school, school wasn't really that important to me. I had a hard time staying focused. I was more involved with trying to get on the girls and hanging with my friends, playing ball and doing all other stuff that wasn't going to get me anywhere, particularly in school. And my mom was always trying to tell me, you have to find a way to get focused and try to become something in school so you can potentially go off to college or some type of trade school or somewhere like that and, be successful. And I still wasn't ever getting the message, and she was just always get on me, and I just kept blocking her out. And one day she just kept going at me, and she just sat me down, and she was like, Matt, I got something for you. This is what I'm gonna do. I got this little small gift for you. Here goes this little watch. And it was a little gift that she was giving me. Normally, I know it's just kind of weird that somebody would give somebody a watch or just any type of gift when you haven't done nothing deserved. But she was like, this is a small thing that I'm gonna give you and let you know, representing that you can get more bigger things in life if you are successful and get your acting school. And ever since that day, that kind of made me realize, right, even though this is just a watch, it's just something I want to work for, because there are bigger things in life, such as money, cars, houses, and nice things in life. And that's just something I always remember to the day I die.
What I would like to talk about is my object that I got from my dad. He gave me a Bible when I was young. The Bible means a lot to me because it represents what my dad believes in, and my dad is a pastor. I grew up in a Christian home and all my life, and I knew that something like that, giving something like that to me from my dad, means more to him than it would anything else other than a knife or some kind of gun or whatnot. My dad and I didn't have the typical father-son relationship. We didn't go hunting or fishing or anything like that. We we went to church and revivals and all kinds of religious events. So having a Bible that I can still carry around and use today that's from my dad, it means a lot, and especially that it was signed from him. So.
When you got some homework and you need a place to go, when you're working on a project and your computer is slow, there's a little place on campus that I think that you should know about. The first story of the library is what I'm talking about. Walk past Java City and then you will see the new commons area is where you should be. They got computers and printers, couches, tables and more. It's the perfect place to go for study time galore. Please don't throw that trash on the ground. I know someone is watching now. Recycle man, recycle man. Please take care of all your waste in a responsible way. Recycle. The Morehead State University Space Science Center has been established to provide a research and educational facility with state-of-the-art laboratories for undergraduate students in space science. The Star Theater located inside functions as a classroom and public entertainment room featuring laser light shows and 3D movies. To contact the Space Science Center, call 606-783-2381. For events in the Star Theater, call 606-783-9593.
Hey man, you're not supposed to be smoking on campus. Don't listen to him. It isn't like anyone's gonna know he's smoking a cigarette. That's a really bad idea.
Remember, Morehead State University is a tobacco-free campus. When you're thirsty, are you gonna depend on a crumpled old dollar? Remind yourself to always bring your Eagle card. Dude, you need the Eagle card. Always keep beaker bucks loaded onto your Eagle card just in case. It's the fastest way to make all of your on-campus purchases.
What we're working on, I'll tell you a little bit about it. We're trying to get 72 quilts done for next semester. It's for a Build-A-Bed project that this place is creating beds for homeless children. They're creating 72 beds. We're just working on the quilt portion of it. There's people who are donating and taking care of the pillows. There's people that are taking care of bed frames. There's people that are taking care of mattress and box springs. And there's people taking care of like sheets and stuff like that, fitted sheets and those sorts of things. So we're just focusing on the quilts. Okay, and the cool part is you guys are getting to work on the fun part, which is the top of the quilt. It's the pretty part. It's easy to do. It's just straight sewing. It's fairly simple type of stuff. Okay, but you get to do the cool part that some little boy or some little girl is going to look at and go, "Oh wow, somebody made this for me." Right? Some of these quilts will also go into the trunks of police cars locally in town. For if they domestic abuse calls, rape, stuff like that they'll have quilts or something to wrap around somebody. Say they pull somebody up out of the lake, they need a blanket, here it is, right? So some of these are going to that, and some are also going to, I think, the Women and Children's Abuse Shelter in town, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's definitely used in this community, and it's not something that we're shipping off to another state or another area of the country, so it kind of makes you feel a little better knowing that it's like here and helping our people and our community and our stuff, right? So I'll need people to do cutting, okay, do some cutting. Then I'll need somebody who will be called our ironing person who just does the ironing, okay? It's a big thing. You'll be busy. Is there anybody who wants to be the iron person?
Maybe some very close ups of the fabric would be good. Like just put it in the fabric.
My couch is really hot.
Are you working the trail tonight? Yeah.
I don't think I have anything. You just look at you like, I'm going to say nothing. I just got on camera.
We'll have to cut that out of the camera.
Cecil and Matt Johnson both were supposed to give me $50.
Hey, Angela, say that again.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was on camera. I missed the parties.
Things, this one, and that one. These are all perfect 90-degree angles on the corners. These are meant for quilters, so that way I know it's 90 degrees and it's not going to end up looking funny. So the first thing I'll do to this piece of fabric is square it up like this. And see how I've got, you can see through the plastic, right? So you can see through where the fabric is. And you're going to cut this straight down and straight across. Cut it straight across here. And then, because it changes sizes, you'll cut it straight down here, like that. Then you'll scoot this over and then do more work on this piece here. So we're trying to conserve as much fabric as we can. So that way we just have little bitty pieces that end up in the garbage. Because one, I don't like putting stuff in landfills. And two, it's a waste. And this is all stuff that we need for this project. Okay. Fabric is just a material that I've picked out of our collection of stuff over here, in which we're going to cut these side squares out of this fabric, okay?
Or just take
so we can do two at a time, and you always
weave them together.
Try to conserve as much fabric as you can,
Okay.
because we use every square inch of this stuff. And we want it to be perfectly square. First, you have to make sure that your fabric is on this mat and that your square is also not hanging off the edge of the mat, so when you cut through, you don't cut off onto the table, because you will cut through this, and somebody did it in here the other day, and it was frustrating. Anyway, this blade right here is very, very sharp, and it will cut you, okay? This little button here pushes the guard up, so that way I can't cut myself. But as soon as I pull this guard back, I can cut myself, okay? So you just have to be careful not to cut your hand open or...
Kind of like a box cutter.
Exactly. Okay. Now what you do is you put that blade edge up against this plastic right here, and you roll forward just like that, okay? And look, it cuts it. Okay?
Wow.
You can cut through 4 layers at a time. You can do 2 layers at a time, whatever you're comfortable with. But you go through these layers here. And then you do this side and this side, and then you have 2 squares that are done. Now all the squares that you cut out of this size need to go in this pile here, because that keeps it with the correct size. If you're using this small square, you can do that there. In this space over here, whoever cuts in this corner, this side is for us to take any of the scraps that are left over from any of these cutting areas, and we turn them into strips, okay? So we're doing, I think, 4-inch wide strips or whatever. You can do the 4-inch wide ones. And what you'll do is, like on this fabric, lay that one down. And if you'll look here, it goes to like a smaller size, right? But what we can, you'll see up top here, there's a container up there. I'll have to put some more water in it in a minute. But this piece up here, the water just gravity feeds down into the iron. There's a little push button on the handle part of the iron, and you just iron the seams and stuff like that, and I'll help you with that when it starts, when it's time to start business. What else you'll be in charge of too is ironing these fabrics before the people in this area start to cut them. Because if they're not flat and they're all wrinkly and weird looking, then it's not going to necessarily cut out straight.
No problem.
Okay, cool. I like soften them all the time, but I hand sew them, so this I love it when I have it.
You just want to lightly put onto it just to keep it straight.
Okay, give it a shot. It's super simple.
Oh man, I'm sewing right now.
What I'd like to
practice between your actions. So you have to like
Come on, Fiddle. Let's do this.
letters and stuff. You know, just take
Oh.
right here. He's on that fabric.
What's wrong, dude? Second guessing that cheeseburger? Maybe you should take another look at that before you eat it.
Don't eat me.
Now how could you be thinking of eating that when really you're thinking of a slow-cooked chili-covered geodog with cheese with your selected choice of chips? Throw that thing away. Located on the first floor behind the elevator.
What about me?
I was sitting here and wishing you believed in superstitions and maybe a seed of sign. Lord knows that this road is cruel, well I ain't the Lord, I'm just a fool and I love somebody don't mean they love. Must I always be waiting on you? Must I always be playing your sing a song and dance, I give your friends all a chance. Putting up with them wasn't worth ever having you. Well, maybe you've been through this before, but it's my first time. So please ignore the next few lines, cause they're directed at you. I can't always be waiting on you. Oh, I can't always be playing your playing your part. This time I see walk this block up to this one. Nobody knows me. Building it up, shooting me down. I'm already down. Just wait a minute. Sit and wait it up. Wait a minute. Well, if I was in your position, I'd put down all my ammunition. I want to work, it's taking them so long. Lord knows that I'm not shit, but if I was, I wouldn't be so cool. Cause finding love is so easy. When you get dirty, you need to wash your hands. Left too half out before you eat. Left her playing in the street. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Well, everybody wash your hands. 'Cause being clean is the way to be.
Do you feel like playing video games? Or surfing the internet? But you need to study? If you're having trouble focusing on what's important, you may suffer from ADHD. Stop by the Cottle Health Clinic located in Allie Young Hall between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. or call 783-2055 to make an appointment.
If you enjoy watching and analyzing movies, the Film Studies minor would be great for you. The Film Studies minor recognizes the importance of film literacy in the digital age and offers students the critical skills they will need to productively engage in the mass-mediated world of the 21st century. In class, you may observe movies such as Seven, Blade Runner, Taxi Driver, and Dirty Harry. For further information, contact the Director of Film Studies, Jeffrey Hill, at j.hill@moreheadstate.edu.